American media. Media in the United States of America tried to get me to believe the lie, and the lie was that NFL games and the Super Bowl was the best thing to watch on television, and it was the best use of my time, and it was the most exciting and fulfilling video and viewing experience. And I don't think that's true. In fact, I don't watch NFL games. I don't watch the Super Bowl anymore because I am not satisfied for a number of reasons. Well, let me tell you how the story began. My first NFL game, I watched it on January 10, 1982. And it was a thriller from Manila. Actually not, it was a game, the NFC Championship game between the San Francisco 49ers, which is my dad's team because my dad lived in San Jose, California, and it was in one of his friend's house right there in San Jose, California that I viewed my first NFL game. Like I said, it was between the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. And the San Francisco 49ers won that game. It was 28-27. And there was a spectacular play. It is now a legendary in the annals of NFL history. It's called the catch. And that was 51 seconds left in the game where Joe Montana, the quarterback, threw an amazing throw deep into the end zone, and it was caught by Dwight Clark. He went up in the air for a two-handed catch and came down with a winner. And my dad and his friends, they were very excited, jumping up and down and screaming, and it was a celebration for the nation. At that time, I had very little understanding of what the game was about. I didn't know the rules. As it was my first time viewing an NFL game, I had to be schooled about what was happening. The object of the game was to move the ball into an end zone, and you get something like 6 or 7 points, and then there was a field goal. You kick the ball through some uprights. It's like a oversized goal post. You had a first down, second down, third down, and fourth down. Anyway, I didn't quite understand everything at that time, but I knew that the one thing I was certain of was that the object of the game was to hurt the other players in order to achieve the goal of winning. Therefore, it was important to take out the quarterback, injure him, put him on a stretcher or send him to the hospital, injure the receivers, the wide receivers, also injure the running back. And that was how you achieved success in an NFL game. Injure the star players from the other side, from the other team. So one of the biggest stars in the game, the heroes of the game that I saw that day, was a player called Ronnie Lott. They call him a safety or cornerback or something. But what he is known for is that he is the hardest hitter in the NFL. One of the hardest hitters. He sent many, many people to the hospital. He has ended the career of many, many NFL opposing players. So after watching that first game, I watched a smattering of NFL games after that because I didn't have time or access to television. I had other things, important things to do with my life. So over time, I began to internalize the values from the book, the Bible, that the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and we should promote health all the time, and vibrant living and fitness. And the NFL is diametrically opposed to that concept because the NFL promotes harm, carnage, mayhem, injury, even death, because players have died because of injuries from NFL games. And CTE, that brain disease, is controversial, but yeah, banging your head and getting hit causes a lot of different types of damage to the body and the brain. So I do not watch combative sports like gladiator-type sports, like boxing, MMA fighting, UFC fighting, NHL hockey. I don't watch sports where the rules dictate that you have to intentionally harm an opponent in order to win the game. So for the over last 30 years or so, I have not watched a Super Bowl event. I have not watched the game, and really the games are not that great, and the halftime show is usually not that great. People hype it up to be great. They want to convince themselves that they watched something spectacular, something life-changing moment, but it's really it's really overhyped. It's like the emperor has new clothes. You know, the media, what it does, especially talk show, sports talk show, for 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, that's all they talk about, what's going to happen, what the score is, and they project, and then the game happens, and it's not really that great, and usually there's a controversial call, a missed call, the official messed up, whatever it is, the game is over, and then sports talk will talk for another week about what happened and what could have happened and why it didn't happen and how, you know. So sports talk show and the media, it's a promo for the Super Bowl. That is why it is the most watched television event in modern times. The most watched television event in the United States was the Apollo landing on the moon in 1969, and I was also able to see that on television. My folks and I, my brothers, were little at that time. We watched it. I must have been 8 years old, watched it at some drive-through restaurant. We went inside and or watched it through the window on the television. So that had 150 million viewers. And the NFL, well, today is Saturday, so tomorrow, Sunday, they estimate it will be between 120 and 125 million viewers who will view that event. So America will be watching the Super Bowl, but not me. And my son doesn't watch it either. He's 26 years old, and I may have had a bad influence on him. I don't think he's ever watched the Super Bowl in his entire life. Oh boy, is he missing out on anything important? Probably not. When my son was a little boy, we used to go to the park on Super Bowl Sunday, and we would find that the park, the local parks, they were abandoned. There weren't any people there, so we had the park, all the equipment to ourselves. We had the slides, the swings, the playground equipment, and the sandbox. Everything was available. All the families were gone. I don't know where they were. Probably at home watching the Super Bowl on TV. And so today, when I go to the park and I run, even at run through the neighborhood on the streets, I hear people cheering, screaming, and I'm saying to myself, whoa, these people are clapping and cheering for me as I run a time trial, or I run some distance, or a virtual race. So I do get a benefit from the Super Bowl on Sunday, because I get people cheering for me when I run. So I don't watch NFL games anymore. And in truth, the NFL has destroyed sports in America. All the other sports are hurting because the NFL demands so much attention and take up so much of our resources, money, and television coverage, and viewership. So my favorite sport, track and field, is suffering. No one is tuning in to see track and field around now. People are all tuned into something that the media tells them is more entertaining, more inviting, with a lot more violence and blood and mayhem. One day our senators and our congressmen are going to come and they'll legislate laws that will outlaw the NFL because the circus is gone. They say we abuse animals in the circus. And the rodeo is gone in most states because they say we abuse the cows and the horses in the rodeo. So next will be the NFL because we abuse humans. We abuse men, young men. There aren't any women playing in the NFL right now. So we abuse men to satisfy our taste for carnage, for blood, for violence, and the world is too violent. Imagine in 2024 that we still solve or resolve our differences through war and violence. What is the purpose of diplomacy and negotiations? We should have been able to do that a long time ago. So the United Nations is still trying to stop wars and all this armed conflict and violence in many parts of the world. So we have to do a lot better to promote peaceful resolution. So I think it's time for us to make the world a better place. Yeah, get injury, damage, harm out of sports as much as possible. I know the injury is always a part of sports, but to intentionally harm your opponent, we are much better than that. We should have risen to a better standard in life. By the way, the most watched televised event worldwide was the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. 5.1 billion viewers worldwide around the globe. And I'm not a fan of royalty. I don't believe in royalty, so I also did not watch the Queen. No, I didn't watch it. And you know what? My son and his mom, they were unfortunate to travel to London, England on the same day that the Queen was buried. It was a coincidence. My son is and my ex-wife, they are citizens of the United Kingdom. It was a planned trip, and it just accidentally fell on the Queen's funeral day. And when they got to England, to the United Kingdom, everything was closed, the shops, the stores, oh boy. So that's another story for another time. I learned over time how to throw a football, how to get a perfect spiral on it. I learned how to catch. But my favorite sport is soccer. And one year, the year of 1982, when I came to America, I watched as many games as I possibly could of the World Cup. There was a big screen TV in a place called Los Angeles Trade Tech. There was a room, a television room, big screen. But you know, after spending so much time watching games, I think I was a fanatic, a sports fanatic. But I hadn't watched World Cup games in more than 36 years or so. And last year, I decided that I would watch the final between France and Argentina. And it was a disaster. I mean, the game was fantastic, but I spent close to 6 hours. I lost half a day watching a game that I probably won't remember much of what I saw. And it was awful, but I know the World Cup gets a lot more viewers around the world than the NFL could ever imagine. I think it gets close to 2-something billion viewers. I have to check my figures.